These two guys became the owners of Makati, Domingo Rojas and Antonio de Ayala. No, they're not politicians, nor Jews like it was promised to them 3,000 years ago. It takes 190 years of history that even Confucius himself should listen and learn like a student. So open your mind and stick to the end. Back in 1834, when YouTube was not a thing and Spain was still ruling the Philippines, these two guys opened a small distillery. One dude suggests, "Bro, let's make booze." And the other was like, sure. The company name was Casa Rojas, then renamed to Casa Ayala, then rename it again to Ayala y Compañía, and then rename it for the last time Ayala Corporation as we know it today. They were not trying to build an empire, they just wanted to make parties more fun. The goal was simple: produce more alcoholic drinks. They make cognac, rum, whiskey, and the iconic gin, initially named Ginebra Ayala, renamed to Ginebra Nacional, then renamed it again to Ginebra San Miguel. They really like changing names like it's their profile picture. In 1924, they sold the distillery to a Filipino-Chinese businessman, Carlos Palanca Sr. Then he later sold it to San Miguel Corporation in 1987. Over the decades, the Ayala and Rojas bromance did something remarkable. They survived everything: Spanish rule, American occupation, Japanese invasion, and traffic on EDSA. Oh wait, maybe not the last one. After the booze business, they started the money business, like literally, from distillery to banking. In 1851, there was a Spanish royal decree to establish the first bank in the Philippines. It's called El Banco Español Filipino de Isabela II. And if you can't remember that, it's fine. It's just simply the modern day Bank of the Philippine Island. Simply or nickname BPI. Oh, speaking of nickname, from this point on, every time I mention a first name, just add Zobel de Ayala at the last because it's too long to say. So now back to the story. It is important to note that Ayala was never the owner of this bank because it was functioning like a central bank at that time. But in 1900, Philippines and Spain got divorced, and Antonio was the managing director at the time. In 1912, El Banco was privatized and renamed to BPI. December 1969, Ayala Corporation became the majority shareholder. As of today, 2025, BPI is the third largest bank with assets of 3.2 trillion pesos. Now it's time for the juicy part, the history of Makati. Back in 1851, there was a dude named Don Jose Bonifacio Rojas. He is related to the Ayala family. He saw a vast raw land full of grass and cows. While others saw farmland, he saw the future. That acre of land is called Hacienda San Pedro de Makati. Let's just call it Makati. He bought it at 52,800 pesos. Let that sink in. The entire Makati city was just worth of an iPhone today. Fast forward to 1937. Enrique is now the owner. And he met a guy who likes airplanes. His name is Laurie Nielsen. I don't have his photo. I can't find it in the internet. And he said something like, "Dude, can I use your land to build airport?" And he was like, sure. They opened a school for pilots. It's called American Far Eastern School of Aviation. 6 years later, World War II broke out, and the Japs took over the airport. Ayala was being coerced to sell the land to the Imperial Japan. And he was like, chill, bro. He kept delaying the transaction from happening until it never did. Why? Ironically, thanks to the Japanese invaders for granting Philippine independence by installing a puppet government. This is Jose P. Laurel, the third president of the Philippines, whom the Japanese installed as the president. Few years had passed and World War II was over. Plans were set to develop Makati as the central business district. Real estate was booming. First, Nielsen Airways was converted into Ayala Avenue. Second, they developed gated communities like San Antonio, San Lorenzo, and Bel Air Village. Third, they set up Makati Stock Exchange, which was renamed to Philippine Stock Exchange in 1992. Because of this, Makati was dubbed as the Wall Street of Philippines. Big corporation preferred Makati as their office address. It really was the first modern city back then before BGC took over. They really did a great job modernizing Makati. The Ayalas went on diversifying into different industries. Ayala Corporation expanded to build more malls, condos, hotels, and office buildings. Today, it is the third largest real estate developer. Second, Globe Telecom. It has 54% market share in telecommunication. Third, AC Energy, rebranded as ACEN Corp. It has a market cap of 103 billion pesos. Fourth, Manila Water. It serves over 6 million residents across 23 cities. And lastly, Ayala Healthcare. Well, so everybody lives longer. And you know what's wild? They saw the tech boom coming. While you are still using the dial-up internet, Ayala was already planning fiber optics. Fast forward to today, Ayala Corporation is still dominating across all industries. They've got their hands in real estate, finance, telecom, water, power, healthcare, and now education. At this point, if they decided to start a K-pop group, I would not even be surprised. With over 190 years of experience, they've survived more challenges than a man with a psycho wife. Their secret? Adopt, innovate, and quietly own everything. So the next time you're in Greenbelt Mall, using Globe data, banking with BPI, and paying bills through GCash, just remember the OGs that started them all. But beyond the brand, Ayala is a proof that with vision and innovation, and maybe just a little alcohol from the start, you can build something that lasts generation. So tell me in the comment section below, which Ayala thing is your favorite? BPI, Globe, GCash, or the fact that Greenbelt has the cleanest bathroom? Subscribe to hear more stories like this.